Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis.
Today, a special state Senate committee formed to investigate Willis and the special prosecutor she began a relationship with met for the very first time. Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon live at the state capitol where that hearing was held.
And Doug, this bipartisan panel will also track how money paid by Willis's office to Wade was actually spent.
Right. They'll be investigating how state and federal funds were spent by the district attorney's office. As you mentioned, that committee met here in this room in the Capitol for the very first time today. It will be far from their last meeting, though. And they said they've already gotten voluntary requests from people inside the DA's office, whistleblowers, to come and offer their depositions to this committee. And there's a good chance that at some point they're also going to hear from the district attorney herself.
This is not any type of political witch hunt. This is a quest for the truth.
Committee Chairman in Athens, Republican Senator Bill Cowsert, assuring during the panel's first meeting Friday that their investigation will be fair and bipartisan,
with no intention whatsoever of interfering with the criminal justice system.
What the panel will do is investigate the now admitted relationship DA Fani Willis shared with attorney Nathan Wade, the top prosecutor on the historic election indictment against former President Donald Trump and his allies. They'll also look into allegations of misuse state and federal funds brought forth by whistleblowers in Willis's own office who volunteered their closed-door testimony.
You lose the confidence of the public in the fairness of our criminal justice system if they think prosecutors are engaging in prosecution so that their lovers can get rich.
Made up of 6 Republicans and 3 Democratic state senators, the panel will also likely subpoena Willis's testimony as well.
I don't think she would participate in answering questions that seem like it is a witch hunt. Some of it is very personal. I just don't think she would participate in it.
When the investigation ends, likely well past the close of this legislative session, they'll produce a report on their findings and may suggest additions or changes to state law.
Maybe there need to be some rules about relationships between special prosecutors and the person hiring them and approving their bills. Our job's not to go after any person, but it's to make sure this doesn't happen again. Let's get Georgia laws amended or implemented that can restore faith and confidence in our judicial system.
And so this investigation will now take a few months to complete. 2 things this committee cannot do. They cannot remove the district attorney from this indictment or from office in general, and they also cannot criminally charge anyone at all. From the state capitol tonight, Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.